New Zealand Border Control has strict rules on what you can bring into New Zealand. The majority of restricted or prohibited items are those which pose a biosecurity risk to New Zealand's fragile and unique environment. For this reason, it's best to be mindful about what you pack in your luggage for New Zealand and know what you need to declare when arriving in New Zealand. We'll go through all that and more coming up in this video.
Hey guys, we're Robin and Laura, the team behind BackpackerGuide.NZ, helping you plan an epic trip to New Zealand.
In this video, we'll go over all the examples of everything you need to declare when arriving in New Zealand. And if you've heard anything about arriving in New Zealand or watched our advice video on everything you need to know about arriving in a New Zealand airport, then you'll know that there are some certain things that you can't bring into New Zealand and others that you need to declare.
If you are unsure of something you're bringing into New Zealand, it doesn't harm to declare it anyway. Failure to declare a risk item or falsely declaring an item will incur an instant 400 New Zealand dollar fine, and either your item being destroyed or treated at your own expense. So to avoid this situation, keep on watching so you know what you need to declare.
And by the way, if you're new here, why not hit the subscribe button? You'll see more videos to help you plan with your trip to New Zealand. It will support us making more videos like this one, and it's free.
And with that, let's get on with the video. First up, what food should you declare when arriving in New Zealand?
You must declare all food that you are bringing into New Zealand. This doesn't mean that you can't bring food into New Zealand, but you must declare it. However, there are a few food items that you should absolutely cannot bring with you into the country. That includes fresh fruit and vegetables, fresh meat or fish, honey and bee products.
For other food items, you can generally bring food into New Zealand that has been commercially prepared and packaged. It's shelf stable, in other words, it's safe to eat within 4 months without being stored in a refrigerator and unopened. But again, it's food, so you have to declare it.
Baked goods are allowed as long as they don't contain fresh fruit, raw nuts, and fillings such as meat or whole egg. Declare those too.
Confectionery food like sweets and lollies can be brought into New Zealand as long as they don't contain liquid honey or other bee products such as propolis, loose fresh fruit, loose raw seeds, citrus peel, but candied citrus peel is okay, and meat products, and of course, declare it.
Teas with no restrictions include common teas like Earl Grey, English breakfast, green and chamomile that can be either loose or in a sealed tea bag. That also goes for kombucha tea and herbal teas in sealed tea bag, not hand-tied. However, loose herbal teas and Canton Love Pea tea will require treatment at the border, but this would most likely ruin the tea. Tea containing honey powder needs to be shelf stable and be limited to 50 tea bags or less per passenger. And guess what? You've got to declare it anyway.
Finally, you can only bring honey into New Zealand if it is honey that was produced and packaged into New Zealand. And the packaging is tamper proof and is completely sealed. Maple syrup is fine as long as it does not contain any honey.
So how much food can you bring into New Zealand?
There are weight restrictions on food, which are as follows.
For liquid foods such as fruit juice and soup, you can bring up to 10 litres. For concentrated liquid food like concentrated juice boxes or condensed soup, for example, you can bring up to 2 litres, and for solid foods it's up to 10 kgs. For moisture reduced food, that is like freeze-dried meals, that's up to 2 kgs, and you can bring up to 1 kg of spices.
Hey, we hope you are keeping up with this list of things you need to declare. We know it's pretty long, but if you're understanding everything so far, make us giggle by commenting below with the phrase
NZ don't want your honey!
Next up, let's talk about declaring animals and animal products.
You can't bring any live animals into New Zealand without a permit. We don't recommend bringing pets into New Zealand because why would you? But if you are thinking about it, check out our article about bringing pets into New Zealand linked up in the description.
Souvenirs, ornaments, novelty items and jewelry that have been made from animal parts like fibers, feathers or animal hides and skin must be declared. It is likely that they will need to be inspected and they could require treatment.
There are also a few prohibited animal products that you should avoid bringing into New Zealand altogether, which include
Asian medicine, feathers, eggs, meat, honey and honey products including cosmetics, health supplements and medicines, shell and clams, ivory, turtle shell items, coral and snake skin or whalebone products. And now, what about declaring plants and plant products?
All plant material needs to be declared. Many plants and plant products either need to be treated, need a permit, or are strictly prohibited. Examples of the type of plant products you should declare include
dried and fresh flowers, seeds, plant cuttings, item made of bamboo, cane, rattan, coconut or straw, item made of wood such as drums, carvings, masks, weapons or tools, pine cones, any souvenir made of plant material such as items stuffed with seeds or straw, herbal medicines, health supplements and homeopathic remedies, and obviously religious offerings.
Now let's go over declaring used outdoor equipment.
You must declare any used item that have been used in the outdoors, such as fishing, gardening, hiking and camping. This covers a broad spectrum of items, so if you're unsure about any of your outdoor gear, declare it anyway. We also recommend packing these items so they are easy to reach in your luggage just in case they need to be inspected.
So the used outdoor gear you need to declare includes any footwear that has been used outside of urban areas such as hiking shoes, gaiters and sports shoes. They should be cleaned of soil and seeds before arriving in New Zealand. Any camping equipment including tents and camping food, any hunting gear including backpacks and clothing, any gear used with animals such as horse riding equipment, farm footwear, vet supplies and shearing equipment and clothes used while shearing, any gardening equipment, any equipment used in horticulture, viticulture, apiculture, aquaculture and forestry industries, including clothes, footwear and tools.
On top of all of that, you will also need to declare any gear that is used in water activities. This includes but is not limited to any fishing gear including waders, fishing rod, lines, hooks and flies, and swimming and diving equipment like wetsuits and scuba equipment.
Just note that there are some restrictions on water activity gear. For example, there are strict restrictions on felt-soled waders for fishing, which are likely to be seized at the border. Plus, felt-soled waders are prohibited in freshwater in New Zealand. While fly ties are allowed, non-artificial ties must meet the import's health standard, so could be seized for inspection, treatment, or be destroyed. And all freshwater equipment and fishing gear must be clean and dry before you bring it into New Zealand. Wet gear will likely be treated for or reshipped at your expense or destroyed.
So what other biosecurity risk items do you need to declare?
Other items you have to declare include items you might be importing like machinery, a vehicle or machinery parts. Containers and cargo must also comply with the import health standard. Not that that really applies to you guys.
You must also declare anything associated with water, like salt or freshwater product. This could include seashells, any fish or shellfish, seaweed, algae, and seeds, microorganisms, diving, swimming and fishing equipment.
You will also need to declare endangered species products.
New Zealand is part of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species Agreement. Items from endangered species will not be allowed in New Zealand, including items such as ivory, turtle shell artifact, clamshell, snakeskin products, whalebone products, and Chinese medicines. So that's all the things you need to declare for biosecurity reasons. But is there anything else you need to declare?
Yes, you need to declare if you have gone over any of the duty-free allowances. You can bring alcohol and tobacco into New Zealand if you are 17 years old and above. If you bring alcohol and tobacco which is above the duty-free allowance, then you will need to pay duty for the remainder. Duty-free items must be for personal use, not for commercial use.
Alright, so the alcohol duty-free allowance is 4.5 liters of wine or beer and 3 bottles of spirit or liquor. Each of those bottles can hold up to 1.125 liters. The tobacco duty-free allowance is 50 cigarettes, 50 grams of tobacco products, 50 grams of cigars, or a mixture of all three as long as it's no more than 50 grams total.
You will also need to declare any prescribed medication or controlled drugs. You will be able to bring prescribed medication into New Zealand as long as you have a copy of the medicine's prescription or a letter from your doctor stating that you or someone that you're traveling with is being treated with the medication. And if the medication is in its original pharmacy container with your name and strength and dosage details shown on the label. You can bring no more than a supply for 3 months except for oral contraceptive pills, which can be a 6-month supply. If you think you need to get prescribed medication while in New Zealand, then check out our article on how to get a medical prescription in New Zealand in the description below.
Another thing to declare is if you have more than 10,000 New Zealand dollars in cash or the foreign equivalent. If you did, it's likely that you will need to just fill up a cash border control form.
And finally, you must declare goods that are worth more than 700 New Zealand dollars, not including your clothes, jewellery and toiletries, and you will have to pay duty fees or goods services tax on them. Okay, seriously, well done for making it this far in this mammoth list of things you need to declare when arriving in New Zealand. Just to round up, here's all those items listed in a nutshell because who the hell can remember all that?
Alright, in short, when you arrive in New Zealand, you must declare
any food,
any animal or animal products,
plants or plant products,
other biosecurity risk items like animal medicines, biological cultures, organisms, soil or water,
equipment used with animals, plants or water,
items that have been used for outdoor or farming activities,
alcohol or tobacco over the duty-free allowance,
prescription medicines,
more than 10,000 New Zealand dollars in cash,
and more than $700 worth of goods not including your clothes, toiletry and jewellery. Whew, you made it through! That is it for what you need to declare at custom in New Zealand. But before you go, give this video a quick like right now and comment below if you have any questions.
For some slightly more fun stuff to do in New Zealand, don't miss New Zealand's biggest gap year, which is our epic vlog about tackling 365 activities in 365 days.
Until next time, keep exploring!